All right, joining me to discuss this is social commentator Bola Oba. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Also joining us via Skype is family nurse Julie Ngmugbu. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Let me start with you, Julie. If you look at the statement of the Commissioner for Health for Lagos State, he has raised certain concerns, especially with regards to the spread of the virus. And reports are coming saying that 13 out of 100 persons tested are found to be positive, and we are seeing situations where there are sharp practices with regards to test results. I wonder what concerns you have with regards to this.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Good morning and compliments of the season.
Same to you.
Well, it's my concerns kind of resonate with the concerns of so many Nigerians and discussions that we have been having. Do we have enough testing centers or facilities? That is one. Two, what is the level of awareness that has been created? Because it has been said that there's been almost a total relaxation on compliance to COVID-19 rules. How have we ensured that we keep this message going, we create the awareness consistently, and there are forms of measures put in place to bring those people who aren't adhering to these rules, what are we doing about them? The concerns are many. The testing centers particularly, I do not think they are sufficient to cater for the population that we have in Nigeria.
And is this what you think is fueling the sharp practices?
I think that's one of it. One, two, awareness is another thing. Now we need to really understand or understudy the nature of the people called Nigerians. We have a belief system, we have a culture, we have an attitude. What is that attitude? What is our belief about COVID-19? What do we believe about Nigeria? Nigeria, sometimes we think that you can get by with anything. You can cut corners and get away with it. We need to understudy this. We need to know what the problem is and then bring in, I have always said this consistently, in the fight of COVID-19, it's not sufficient to just work with the healthcare professionals. We need to bring in experts to discuss what the problems are and what sustainable solutions can be proffered. So yes, we can have the testing centers, but the people themselves, what are the problems? If it has to do with our culture, if it has to do with our belief system, if it has to do with a faulty or ignorant ideology, these things need to be addressed. The people we need to start exercising self-governance. If they don't feel a sense of responsibility, then we'll just be spending millions or billions like we're hearing in the news, and we will not be able to achieve much.
All right, let's bring the conversation to the studio now. I'm sure you have been following up what she said, and she talked about the fact that our attitude, we believe in sharp practices. If you look at, even when we talk about getting the shots for yellow fever, that card, especially for those who want to travel, they just go around, pay for it, and they get the test result. But this is COVID-19, and we have seen the number of deaths recorded over time. I wonder what you make and what concerns you, because she is also alluding to the fact that perhaps because there are limited number of testing centers, that is why we see what is going on.
We are dealing with a monumental failure of governance, which in itself turns human beings, irrespective of race, irrespective of culture, turns human beings into beasts.
Right.
People historically can go and verify this. Some Jews were snitching on other Jews to the Nazis just to survive. When the German hegemon lost the Second World War, German women, some of the proudest women I know on the face of the earth, as at this juncture, I lived in Germany for about 2 years of my life. Some of the proudest, they're not taken by money or whatever, they were literally sleeping with American soldiers just for the butt of cigarette. When you have inadequacy in any schematics populated by human beings, you are calling for disorderliness, you are calling for riotousness, you are calling for all forms of shady character manifestations. We have governments, look, you know what COVID-19 has shown us across the world? It has shown us that the English-speaking world really has to, the English-speaking world and the former colonies of the English-speaking world really have to up their game.
Right.
America is, as we speak, taking the infamous position of being number one, the most scientifically advanced country on the face of the earth because of the sloppiness of governance. United Kingdom, because of the incompetence of the present Prime Minister and government, look at the situation of the United Kingdom. Nigeria is in the except New Zealand. Take New Zealand away from the English-speaking family of the world. Every other country is in a mess. And it is as a result of the failure of governance. Let's come back to the commissioner, the Lagos State Commissioner. The Lagos State Commissioner functions, the Nigerian Constitution is such that all crimes in Nigeria are local, and the prosecution of crimes are within the instrumentality of the state government. There are allegations that there are people fraudulently profiting from issuing fake certificates. I was not seeing the commissioner in Lagos pointing to the fact that the state criminal enforcement entities have arrested somebody and the state prosecutor general is prosecuting anybody. Right. He had the temerity to be talking to the competence of the federal government that, you know what, they will soon be invalidating the passport. That is not within his competence. Right. And you know what? I was saying it, I've said it a number of times on this platform. What we've had thus far is the pretense to competence of governance. And it is so, if you are forensic about examining the conduct of government, you will know that since COVID-19, the pretense to the competence of governance has never been so abused
when you're talking
much by
about
Lagos.
Competence, what shape, what form are you talking about? Because if you listen to the PTF, they were talking about the fact that the federal government has spent not less than 1 billion. That's the least.
Let me give you practical examples that we can both identify with.
All right.
At the height of the first wave, there were centers opened across Lagos. How many of those centers are still functional?
Right.
No. We're talking now. This is a living room conversation between two adults.
A few of them.
A few of them.
They are going back to reopening them.
So a few means that relatively some may have been shot.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. As we speak now, if as a Nigerian you want to do a PCR test today, which is like the gold standard of COVID tests, there are so many other tests, but the gold standard accepted by the Nigerian government is the PCR test. As an adult Nigerian, if you want to do a PCR test today, it is a call, my sister, to frustration. And if you have an inevitable engagement to make, or you have a flight to catch, say back to where you have to work, say back to go and join your family, or for business. My sister, give me an idea, because I tell people that thank God for Yeleja. If I didn't leave Mushin, I probably would have ended up as one of the killers you people call, roadside whatever. Because you know what? A human being functions within the context of the opportunities for survival that he or she sees. And when governments fundamentally fail, I tell people, it's not only about government indeed, it's about leadership across the value chain. Right. When leaders fail to anticipate what should be the need of their followers and make sure that working infrastructure are put in place to allow smooth running of society, you have chaos. So if anybody comes on TV and come and blow grammar at me, I'll be looking at the person, what's all this grammar about?
So the process put in place, as cumbersome it is fueling what we are seeing
now. Because
it's
inevitably fueling the madness that we have. Am I saying that an average Nigerian too should not be circumspect enough to know that COVID-19 kills and that across the world it is raging again ferociously? Look, if you are watching this morning, Don't be enthralled by the grammar that I'm speaking. At the end of the day, this is a business of life and death.
Right.
And if you love yourself, you must do everything possible to make sure that you engage all the non-pharmaceutical, what they call that blue grammar, non-pharmaceutical, you use face mask, make
Wash
sure
your hands.
you...
And physical distancing. All right, let's get back to...
Although we are too close for comfort, I guess Cocaine is not watching.
All right, let's go back to Abuja now and speak with Julie Mogul. We see that just last week there were reports of about 20 doctors that have died as a result of complications arising from COVID-19. And this morning we also see reports of about 4 deaths, doctors dying, health workers on the front lines. Looking at the way things are moving now, what would you expect government to do to ensure the safety of health workers on the front lines?
Thank you very much, Veronica. It is sad that let's begin with how the government values the life of a single individual. We have seen events play out in the past. And if there is one constant statement you hear from Nigerians, is that the value for life is close to zero. If we have a government that values the life of a 6-year-old, then we know that we are up for something good. So talking about 20 doctors passing, I don't know, it would palpate the minds of the government. I don't know how these affect them. That is where we need to begin from. What is our value for lives? Then let's come back home. The very people that we need to combat this pandemic, the very people that are critical to us putting a stop to the spread of this pandemic, they are under immense pressure. What equipment are they working with? We want to see a government in action. We want to see them do more than speak. We want to see them put measures in place. We want to see these things. We don't just want to hear them. What facilities? I saw over one of the social media platforms. I haven't verified, so I'm not even going to mention names. That it's like a tsunami. It's like a COVID tsunami. That's the outcry of the medical director there. And at this point, she said that she is actually suicidal, because even as regular non-COVID cases, when you see patients die because there are either lack of equipment or lack of finances, it impresses negatively on the mind of the caregiver. So let alone where you can't do anything, you're almost in a state of helplessness. And we have a government. The doctor cried out, like I said, I haven't verified, so I can't even mention names. But it is possible. We've had people cry out. People want to leave their jobs. Government need to sit up. Are they expecting the medical doctors, the nurses and other health care practitioners to give up their salaries and put things in place, what the government is supposed to do? We need to see them act. Double, triple, proliferate the testing centers, empower them, call them for a meeting, ask questions. We want to see them have Zoom sessions on a regular basis. We want to see them carry out measures or interventions that will take care of their mental state. We want to see them have constant interaction. We want to see them send palliatives to these medical doctors, because these things help. So the healthcare professionals, how are they being taken care of? What do they need? Constant communication. We need to find out, what do you need? Ask the experts. You are there at the front line. You are seeing the challenges. What do you need to make this pandemic come to a stop? I'm not saying those conversations happening. And beyond the conversations, we need to see actions. We're hearing billions flying left, right, and center. Where are they? People will just sit down and say, government is eating the money. Aren't they tired of hearing that government is eating? Let us show. People are saying this because they aren't seeing enough. We want to see the airwaves filled with information about what has been done, what is being done, what the plan is. We need to have constant communication, and we need to see actions carried out by our government.
All right, let's bring it back to the studio now. constant communication and action. That is what Julian Wobo is asking. And if you listen to what the director for the NCDC, the president of Chikwe Ihekwazu, was talking about, that in January, a lot of Nigerians rather, will have to pay for the consequences of their actions, talking about the implication of what is going on now. But the question on the lips of a lot of persons is, if we say that there is a strain in the UK, South Africa, why are we not shutting our borders to these people so that we can manage what is already on the ground now, if we really say we have to pay for the consequences of our actions in December?
And one who does not believe, actually, that we should be shutting our borders anymore. Let's be very honest with ourselves.
Right.
Humanity will learn to live with the reality of SARS-CoV-2, infamously known as COVID-19, or coronavirus, or novel coronavirus, across the world. Shutting down anything now is not the solution. We have to work on the behavioral predisposition of man. You know what?
But that doesn't seem to be achieving any result at this point.
We'll get to it. Inevitably, you see, the funny thing about the species called Homo sapien, if you look at the history of the Homo sapien, the funny thing about the species called Homo sapien is that for every major challenge to his existentialism, the human being works out a survival regime or protocol to beat it. COVID-19 has pushed humanity to the point now that we really, and we, all of us, are working at the methodology of beating it. But I am not one who subscribes to the idea of shutting down anything anymore, because you know what? We have a very fragile economy, especially Nigeria. Now, many of the things that we're so paranoid about that are making some people to agitate that borders be closed, many of those things can easily be solved by simple application of technology. My sister, this is Bola Oba. I go anywhere in the world, you call this number anywhere, US, UK, Dubai, you get me. The chip, the only thing now is that the chip has not been embedded under my skin. But let's be very honest with ourselves. This SOB, I don't want to lose, this thing are so taking our lives now that you can barely take a step without holding it. And you know what? The use, the ubiquity, the universality of technology is such now that if those who are in government, the political leadership in Nigeria, and those who run the machinery of government, the bureaucrats, if they are not hell-bent on wanting to profit from disorderliness, there's enough infrastructure to trace,
so they
to track.
They're benefiting. That is what it is. That is why they're not looking in this direction. Is that what
My
you're saying?
sister, is it you who is getting all the monies for the fake certificate? Now I know. You're not the one.
No.
You are denying it.
I'm not the one.
But it's not Bolaba. And I know it's not, Iyaleja has not resurrected to come and take it.
All right.
Who are the people taking it? People who are abusing the advantage of officialdom. People pay 48,000 naira to land in Nigeria. When they land in Nigeria at the airport, they will allegedly, and there are enough examples in the public sphere now. When they land at the airport in Nigeria, they are interacting first level with officialdom, and they will give them addresses to go and do the PCR test for the monies they paid prior to landing in Nigeria. Most times when they get to those addresses, you know what, my sister? Fake addresses. No institution there. But it was not you who did it. It was not Balaba who did it. Some people who had the authority to be in that position, literally abusing the integrity of the Nigerian state to make profit. My sister, there are so many things that we could have solved yesterday in Nigeria, but because some people are profiting from the disorderliness, we are where we are.
Right, so let's take it back to Abuja now to talk to Julie Mogbo. Julie, one thing that some persons have said to addressing this issue is involving community communicators, that perhaps that might bridge the gap between the people and government, the trust deficit, and also help deal with the issues of myths surrounding the COVID-19. I wonder if you see this, how far this will go if we introduce that.
I'm surprised that this is coming up. I'm hearing this from for the first time from this platform, or I don't know who suggested it, but these are things we talked about from the onset. Getting to the communities. I don't know why we will think that we can keep doing something the way we've always done it, and then we're expecting a different outcome. That isn't going to be possible. That's madness. What's the problem? Why can't we have a dialogue? Why can't we have a round table discussion and ask people? Everyone has a blind spot, including the government. They have a blind spot. Talk to the people. It's not rocket science. What do we need? We have people from the communities up across to the executive arm of government. Bring them all to the table. Let us have a discussion. Let the chiefs, let the community people, let us know what the challenges are. What are the issues? If we don't know what the problems are, how are we sure that the solution that we have is actually solving the problem? What is the process flow? I don't even know if we have a flow map.
All right.
From when there is a contact to when there's treatment. Well, if we don't have a map, how do we know where the problem is? How do we know where the link has been broken? How do we solve the problem? Let's even see the blueprint of combating this pandemic, and then we know that we're talking seriously.
All right.
But I think if we involve the community, it's something great, because there's trust deficit, and then we have issues with myth as well. When we get to the people, we speak their language, I think would have a great move in addressing this problem. All
right, Executive Director, Royal Nursing Consult, Julie Mogbo, we must thank you for your time on the program. Now, finally, before we let you go,
let me just dovetail the very important point the lady just made.
All right.
Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, has been labeled by many commentators and opinion leaders like Bola Oba as a Trump imitator or Trump-like character. But in all the madnesses that he exhibited during this COVID-19, he did one thing that has made an average Brazilian to trust in the Brazilian state than most countries in Latin America. Brazil is the most economically powerful. To the rural areas, the government reached out by making sure that people got checks, and the level of poverty, unlike in most other countries where the level of poverty has increased because of COVID-19, the level of poverty has functionally decreased in Germany because of the method the government has used. In most other, I don't want to be mentioning the advanced societies. In January, between January and March, the Nigerian government is intending to spend about $500 billion on importing vaccines. I think it's about time they heeded the counsel of the lady, and let's talk.
All right.
Because Nigerians may prefer a direct dole to another scam.
Okay.
That the deployment of that money may facilitate.
All right, let's leave the conversation here now. Social commentator Bola Oba, thank you for your time as well.
Always a pleasure to be on your side.